Take back your soul. This is another transmission from Mahadeva here at ThunderWizard.com headquarters, where you find the world's only unified spiritual energy system at ThunderWizard.com. Get ready, because here I come. Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to the ThunderWizard.com YouTube channel. This is Mahadeva, the Thunder Wizard. And I am here to reveal to you what the purpose has been this whole time. Being in 3D, being in 3D Earth. Why is it so challenging? Let's face it, being born on this planet can really be difficult and challenging and painful for some people. And there has been people throughout recorded human history who have seemed to be able to tap into spiritual powers, supernatural powers. There have been people who seem to be able to walk through this earth life and have all kinds of happiness and joy and success. And then there's been people where it's been challenging. I am part of that second class of people. I do not wish what happened with me in my childhood on anybody, nor any of the challenges that I've gone through in life. But here's what has happened. Everything has changed. Everything. The shift to 5D is not coming, it is here. The Aquarian Age is not coming, it is here. The only thing left to do is to wipe your rear end and put on some new clothes. That's pretty much it. And for those that hang on to the old way of being, the old way of doing, the old way of thinking, it will only become more challenging and more difficult. But the shift is going to come. It's already here. It's already happening, and it is going to happen. The Matrix is right now, as we speak, the Matrix is being rewritten from 3D to 5D. Don't get confused. I say we actually live in 4D because time is the fourth dimension. We have 3 dimensions plus time, which is 4. But you know what I mean when I say 3D and 5D. So what is 5D? Well, I have yet to discover all of that myself. I can tell you what I've seen and what I've experienced, and you've experienced this as well. You may not remember it, but it's happened to you throughout your life in different ways. You might have tuned it out. You might have conflated it with other things. But we've all experienced the 5D on some level. Lucid dreams, during your dream states, in your meditations, if you've engaged in entheogens, hallucinogens, you've tapped into the 5D. Now, those things that I just mentioned aren't the most ideal because you don't have a lot of control over what happens, and so you also can't tell what's coming from your internal unconsciousness and what's coming from outside of you. But in the proper circumstances, they can be very transformative experiences. The 5D is where you, among other things, have the ability to go from 3D to 5D. You have the ability to shift. In 5D, you have the ability to physically interact with manifested reality, or you have the option to do things like walk through walls, time travel to distant places millions of light years away in the blink of an eye. In 5D, there are beings that have the ability to create technologies that operate in 5D as well. So everything that we would consider to be magic is actually normal for 5D. Now, there are some rules about 5D. In order for you to be able to go there, you must be free from the limitations of 3D ego. There are beings like Odin. Odin perhaps was the first human to do so, but Odin has the ability to travel to all dimensions as well as our 3D dimension, which in the Norse tradition is called Midgard, Middle Yard, Middle Earth. Middle Earth is a fortress. Midgard actually means the middle fortress. And so in order to function in 3D, you have to be protected from the influences of the other dimensions, because otherwise the tangible physicality of our world, you're not, your hand would go through something. If I went to go pick up my cup of tea, my hand would go through it if I wasn't completely in 3D, which obviously I am at the moment. I'm completely in 3D. I can pick things up and put them down. I have a lot of limitations. I try and go through the wall. I'm just going to bruise my forehead. But in 5D, you have the ability to go back and forth between the two. But in order for that to happen, you have to be in a special mental state where the ego is not as dense. So let me explain to you, first, let's just be clear. The 5D is here. It is actively integrating into our reality as we speak. That cannot be escaped. That cannot be avoided. That will happen. And so if you're listening to me, you do not qualify for the next class of people I'm going to talk about. For people who are unable, which really means unwilling, people who are unwilling to make the shift to 5D, the 3D is going to be like a trash compactor. It's going to compact people until it becomes a place that cannot be survived. And those human beings will not will go the way of the dinosaur. Now, everybody has a soul, even those beings who choose not to shift into 5D. The soul is infinite, so don't worry about that. Nobody's going to get trapped in hell or any of that other stuff. We're just talking about what happens when you incarnate. And let's be clear about this. I don't know about the majority, because the truth is I'm now learning about how many souls there are in our universe. It's far beyond what you can imagine. And there are myriad, infinite levels, literally infinite levels of density that a soul can choose to incarnate into. In fact, a soul can choose to incarnate into multiple densities at once. That's for another topic. When I learn more about it, I'll tell you. But a lot of downloads have been coming to me about this. But the biggest one was, as I was thinking about probably the same way that you think about 3D, how tragic it is, the pain, the suffering, the sadness, the violence, the ego, the hate, the competition, all the things associated that everybody in the world is complaining about, except for the extremely, those who are at the highest level of the pecking order when it comes to our, the elites in the world. They think they've got it all covered. Of course, they don't. They're going to be the first to get squished by the trash compactor. But the rest of us, when we look at the inequality in the world, the sadness, the poverty, the illness, the war, the sadness, the isolation, that's the biggest thing today, is people feel isolated. This is why there is a rise in narcissism. I have notes. I should probably be following those. But in In 5D, you have to release your attachment to the dense ego. And let's be clear, in order to survive in Kali Yuga, which we've now been out of for the past, 200 or 300 years, but we're still feeling the effects of it. In order to survive in Kali Yuga, the age of darkness, which our world, our solar system was the furthest away from the galactic spiritual center, and we were beneath the plane of influence. It's like being beneath the horizon. Our Earth basically was in a hole where it wasn't getting any sunlight of the spirit. And so people were walking around in darkness. They didn't know who they were. They didn't know that they came from higher dimensions. They didn't know that they had an eternal soul. In fact, that's why the whole focus during the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages, was hell. Hell was the focus. Hell was the focus of Christianity. Even to this day, if you want to become a born-again Christian, the first thing that you learn is you have to believe in Jesus so that you won't go to hell. Hell is what the religion is really about. It's a negative religion where you're trying to escape hell. You're trying to get to heaven because you're trying to escape hell. And that's really where we've been. And hell is being isolated from your own spiritual essence, from your own spiritual vibration. And we've been experiencing that. I've been alive long enough to watch it get worse over time. As technology increases, people become more and more isolated. And that isolation creates narcissism. There's more narcissistic mental illness in the world today than ever in history because of the isolation. Isolation from love, from other people, from the energy of other living souls and beings is the most damaging thing to us humans. So what I learned as I was thinking about all the sadness and the pain, and I was happy that the 5D shift had come. In fact, I, for the longest time, poo-pooed the whole 5D thing. You can still find videos of me on this channel where when people talk about the 5D, I shame them out of it. And I say that whole 5D New Age nonsense, we're here right now, stop escaping, be in your body, be in reality. There's some truth to that, because who are the people that seek 5D? The people who are in the most pain. People who are on the most pain are most likely to be acting out in dysfunctional ways. So it's not that I was wrong, it's just I didn't realize that there actually was a 5D and that it was coming. But now it's here. It's here and it's integrating with us. So what I learned, something beautiful, is that Earth is a specific training ground for souls. So let's be clear. Souls can incarnate on infinite numbers of planets and in infinite numbers of dimensions. It is a choice. So please forget all of the nonsense about karma. Please forget all of the nonsense about Earth being a prison and you're here because you made a mistake and you're being punished. No, you chose to be here, and I'm going to tell you why you chose to be here. You chose to be here because you are an advanced spiritual being. So just take that in. Some of you know that. Some of you talk about being star seeds, and you may even have ideas about what star system your soul is from. I can remember being, how old was I? I must have been 17 years old. And this was my plan. I was, coming to the end of my college years. I had, in order just to survive my childhood home environment, I turned to alcohol and drugs and heavy metal. Those were the things that kept me going. And, I was coming to the end of my high school years, and the reality that I was going to have to go out and, back in those days, you had to go work a job. You had to have a career and sit in an office or something like that. And the thought of me spending my life just doing that, because back then what you did was you worked in a job for 40 or 50 years, and then when you were too old and too tired and too beat up, then you got to retire on a small pension and die. And the thought of it was just miserable to me. And so what I was going to do is I was going to go off and live in the woods somewhere, and I was going to find the most isolated place in the wilderness, and I was going to grow pot and smoke pot all day, and just escape the pain of this world. And I remember, I don't remember what my mother and I were talking about, but my mother was there, and I was from our window in our house, we could see looking inland from the coast, we could see the skyline of downtown LA and all of the cities, and the smog was worse back then. The smog and the skyscrapers and everything, and I got very sad, and tears started coming out of my eyes, and I said, I don't belong here. This isn't my home. I don't belong on this planet. I don't like it here. So if you have that same feeling, it's because it's true. You've spent lifetimes, perhaps hundreds or thousands of lifetimes, on other planets in other dimensions. Now, each dimension has its own strength and its own weaknesses. So the weaknesses of some of these other dimensions is that they are so spiritual that you are born into a society where you feel connected to everything. So those of you who identify as super empaths, you're probably right. Now, bear in mind, a super empath from another galaxy in another dimension trying to survive in 3D ego world, especially during the dark ages that we've gone through, you are going to be codependent. Because you are a super empath, you remember what it was like feeling connected to everything in a place where people didn't have egos, where people lived at a higher vibration of love and unity. And because of that, they were in higher dimensions, 5D and above. And so you could time travel, but you could literally merge with other people energetically, and you felt everybody felt you. There was no filter, there was no judgment. There was only acceptance and love and beauty, and that's where you came from. And you chose to come here to Earth because you wanted to have a more self-oriented, sensual experience. And in order for that, you have to be in 3D. You have to be limited by your 3 dimensions. Like, this phone will not go through my head. I can't make it go through my head. I am limited to 3-dimensional space right now. But as I said, as we move to 5D, that's all going to become, things are going to become much more blurry. So because that's what you remember, you came here because you actually wanted some time to yourself. You wanted the beauty. And this is what dawned on me over the past couple of days, is that the age that we're leaving behind, what was beautiful about it was the experience of self, being alone with one's self, creating your own identity, creating your own personality. Now, there's a balanced and an unbalanced way to live in 3D space-time. We are going to move into a balanced phase. We're coming out of an unbalanced phase. But there have been people throughout this unbalanced phase who figured out the secret. And they had very blissful, beautiful lives. Although, of course, they had their own challenges. And these were the people whom you run into. You've run into them. These are people who are filled with happiness. They're happy. They know there's a lot of problems in the world, but they don't take them on. They will sit with you and cry with you and hold your hand through your problems, but then they can get up and go live their life, and your problems don't hold them down. If you come at them and you try to blame them or control them or manipulate them, they will just shuck and jive and get, and they'll go, I'm sorry you have to be like that, but you know what? I don't really want you in my life. Nothing personal. I just don't want you in my life. And these are people who mastered individuation, which is actually an incredibly beautiful thing. And I realized that looking back on it, we do have to shift. The shift has come. But higher beings do not look at Earth's past with disappointment. Oh, those evil humans. They don't look at it that way. They go, wow, what a beautiful experience. What a beautiful song to learn to have self-love, true self-love, and be with oneself and experience the sensual beauty of earth, food, sunlight, music, art, love, sex, sports. All of the things that are good about 3D life. And come on, let's be real. There's some really cool stuff about living in 3D. Sex is pretty fun. Love and sex, when you're in love and you're having sex with your soulmate, there's just nothing better than that. The most fond experience of my life was the short period of time that I got to spend with my soulmate, who has moved on and is in who knows what dimension now. She comes back and visits me every now and then and communicates to me in all kinds of interesting ways. But that was the most beautiful experience in my memory. If I could live in that forever, I would. So there's some beauty here. But the limitation of ego, when you allow the gravity of ego to pull you into that whirlpool, and you lose the magical power which a lot of beings in other dimensions haven't experienced and don't know how to master. The beautiful experience of individuation, being in love with your own sense of self without being narcissistic. So this is the balanced part. When you are balanced, you are individuated in a self-contained experience of the infinity within. And this creates power. So if you want to become a powerful being, you must visit Earth at some point in your incarnations and learn individuation, because that's where the power to create comes. The power to create music, the power to create art, the power to create anything beautiful, wonderful, whatever it is. You must have the limitation of ego, and that energy then becomes condensed, and with that comes great power. Power to create. And this whole time up until now has been a training ground for souls to learn the power of creation. That's the balanced part. The unbalanced part, if you become unbalanced in 3D, you will suffer narcissism. And by the way, narcissism is more than just, the typical stereotype of narcissism is the selfish egomaniac who uses people and throws them away, who devours people, treats them like objects. But that's only one half of narcissism. The other half of narcissism is the doormat that allows the narcissist. Both of them are narcissists. They're in a dance together. If you have been in a narcissistic relationship, if you've been in a relationship with somebody who is narcissistic and abusive, I have bad news for you. They weren't the only person creating the narcissism. You were the other half. Out of your narcissistic need to seek approval and love outside of your own divinity, away from your own individuation, you sought to placate the narcissist. And so many people who rightly identify themselves as super empaths because they came from vibrations where there was no individuation like we experience it. Everybody was connected. Everybody feels each other. There's nothing but love. There's no need to hide yourself or protect yourself or have secrets. There's no need. You're thrust into this world and all of a sudden you're bombarded with everybody's thoughts and feelings, and they're all narcissists because they're all trying to get to that place of individuation where they can learn the lesson of self-focused power, which will give you the power to create. And because they're learning, many of them are extremely narcissistic. They use you, they abuse you, they take advantage of you, they throw you away. And because you don't have any practice in individuation, having your own reality within yourself, realizing that your life has value simply because you exist. Let me repeat myself. Your life has value simply because you exist. That's it. And when you were at those higher planes of existence in other lives or in between lives, you knew that just your awareness of your own consciousness was the bliss of existence, and you felt the love and the acceptance of all beings and all consciousness simply because you existed. You were so beautiful and so amazing. You felt this love, and there was never any insecurity about, does anybody love me? Does anybody like me? And then you come into this 3D, and nobody loves you anymore. Your worth is based on what you do, how you look. And so you tailor your life to meet the needs of these narcissistic people. And then you get trapped in that delusion of, if I can just do enough, if I can just say the right thing, do the right thing, if I can just look good enough, then people will love me and it'll all be okay. And that is your narcissism. And so you sought out narcissistic people who would demand that you did certain things, and they promised if you did the things that they want, they would love you in return. And you found out the hard way that that doesn't work. And so hopefully you learned to individuate. Individuate says that I love everybody for who they are. I have no expectations. Nobody owes me anything. I'm happy to give freely of myself. But I'm also not, I don't need to meet anybody else's standards. I don't need to do anything. I'm connected to infinity. So this is the balanced part, having the individuation. The unbalanced is narcissism, which is there is an empty black hole within you, and you seek to fill that hole either as the typical abusive narcissist who uses, manipulates, devalues people, or you seek to throw yourself away in the hopes that by meeting somebody else's demands that you will be loved. And they're both equally narcissistic. In the depths of the psyche of both the abuser and the abusee is this emptiness. And that is the sad failed experiment in human 3D experience. But as we are shifting into 5D, we are waking up. Many of you have been waking up to things that took me a long time to, I'm an old guy. So, old dogs, whatever. It's hard to teach them new tricks. But, I I like to believe that my only real interest is learning the truth, because if you learn the truth, you can be happy. Happiness is a result of knowing what's objectively true. So, I like to believe that when I see the inescapable truth of something, I'm happy to throw away my old beliefs and my old patterns and adopt new ones, as challenging it is. And it has been challenging. This past 7 months has been one of the most challenging, drastic, transitional experiences I've ever gone through. And I'm not even close to being done yet. So, 5D, here's the thing that I've come to realize. Now, I say to you that 5D is here. It is actively integrating and shifting. The isolated 3D experience is now going away, and it is being shifted into a 5D experience, which is unavoidable. But here's what I've learned. 5D, when you hear people say in business, you can get in on the ground floor. If you get in right now, if you buy this stock right now, right? If you had bought stock in iPhone or something, I don't know. When it first started, if you get in right now, so here's the great thing. 5D is here and it is integrating, but it has yet to be completely written. And guess who gets to write it? You do. There are beings, and remember that I told you. Maybe you've known it for a while. I sure as hell didn't know it until, a month ago, 2 months ago. I had no idea that this was a real thing. But watch there's going to be open contact between 3D humans and 5D celestial beings. That is coming. More and more people are having their own experiences, and for the first time in human history, I believe, for the first time, at least in recent human history, human beings can initiate physical contact with beings from higher dimensions, light beings from higher dimensions. First time in history. It still blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. And anybody can do it as long as they tap into 5D thinking. 5D thinking, no fear, joy, unconditional love, expansiveness, curiosity, and a desire to connect. Basically, be a little kid. Be a little kid who loves everybody. Have you ever seen, a little puppy? Puppies are like that. Kittens are like that. They just love everybody. They don't have any filters. Little kids, again, some little kids, even when they're 2 or 3 years old, if they want to connect with you, they'll come up and they'll give you their favorite toy. They may come back and take it from you later, but they want to share themselves with you. That's all you need. So human-initiated contact with higher dimensional light beings will not work if you are afraid. So don't get me wrong, you can have fear, but if you adopt fear, like if you indulge in the belief in evil archons who are keeping you trapped and sucking the life force out of you, evil beings of light, if you indulge in that, if you take pride in that, if you think that is a spiritual belief, and you tell people, I'm a spiritual person. Really, why? Well, because I can tell you that the evil archons are ruling this universe, and I refuse, and you take pride in that. Think that you're an alternate thinker, and all you've done is you've bought into another form of belief in the devil. Christians believed in the devil. Modern neo-Gnostics believe in archons. It's the same thing. You have given up your individuation over to something else. So you got to drop that. Now, it's okay to be afraid. I can tell you, as you heard in the videos, if you want to go listen to the videos of me initiating contact with a higher being of light, and I recorded what happened, you can hear me almost jumping out of my skin with fear. But I didn't go into it with an indulgent, self-absorbed feeling of fear, violence. So there are archons. Archon just means ruler, but they're actually human beings. The evil archons of this earth, the billionaire, trillionaire archons of this earth, they've been trying to initiate contact with these light beings. They know that higher beings of light exist, and they know these other dimensions exist. And they've been trying to make contact, and they can't do it. They can't do it because they're narcissistic. They're full of limiting ego, of fear, of anger, of wanting to take things and greed, all of that. That keeps you trapped in 3D. You can't get into 5D if you have that. It's okay if you have had that. You can do this thing called meditation, which is a really wonderful thing, which we're going to talk about, which will give you the ability to rewrite your internal dialogue about who you are. Like the belief in archons is an internal dialogue. It's a dialogue you say to yourself. This world is ruled by evil beings of light. We live in a prison planet. Karma is the universe keeping you trapped. This is something you tell yourself over and over and over, which writes a program in your lower self, and it keeps you trapped in that. And you indulge in that. And when you do, there's a feedback of different chemicals that go through you that rewards you for feeling trapped and afraid. So you can drop all of that. And literally any human being, no matter what their experience is with spirituality, this is the amazing thing. Talk about freedom. Talk about equality. The most powerful spiritual experience that you can have is available to anybody free of charge if they have the desire to simply connect out of a feeling of love and friendship. And you must use 5D techniques to pull it off. And that is meditation. Your bridge between 3D and 5D is energy work and meditation. All of the things on all of these links here are the things that I've given to you. I think they're pretty powerful. I mean, I'm a power junkie. In my experience, I think this is the most powerful, 5D initiating, energy software you can get. That's just my opinion. You can try it out and prove me wrong. So anybody can use these meditative techniques, these qigong, meditation, mantra. You can do these things. And if you do them with an intention of inviting 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D, all the way up to however many Ds there are, beings of light to come to you, they will come to your home. They will come to your home and they will give you energy. They will give you Shaktipat. They will give you an energy transmission. It sounds totally crazy, but it's never been like that. It happened very rarely in the past, and usually when it happened in a state of meditation. It wasn't part of external physical reality. That's because our reality is beginning to be externalized into the 5D. The 5D is going to become our external experience of reality. So light beings, beings of light, other dimensions popping in and out, stopping over for lunch, that's just going to be normal for us. because that's what the 5D is. And you will be making your way into that level of reality. But what you will have that other beings may not have, what you will have is the power that came from living in this isolated, sensual experience of 3D reality. You will have an ability to tap into the power of creativity, to create in this physical world. This is your gift. This is the gift you have for being human. And the rest of the universe, I have to tell you, is so excited because right now on Earth, the Earth is going through a birthing process. The Mother Earth herself and the energy surrounding her is going through a birthing process. And your awakening to all of these new things is part of that birthing process. And your family, which is all of the other intelligent, conscious beings of all different levels of reality, they are your family. And they are coming to watch you get born. So it is a very festive event. And they can't wait to see the new child being born. They can't wait to be a part of that. They're so excited. And so what's happening is that the reason why you can literally do something that's never been part of human existence, because we were supposed to stay in our isolated individuation experience. That now is coming to an end. And so for the first time in the history of human beings, your meditations, you can literally use your meditations the same way you use your cell phone to call for a pizza delivery. Sounds kind of crude, but it's that simple. They can't wait. Higher beings of light cannot wait to come and see you, but you can't use your physical cell phone. You have to use the vibrations of 5D, which is higher meditative practice. When you do that and you are successful, they show up. And in your life, once you make that connection, I can tell you from personal experience, once you make that introduction connection where you basically say, I'm ready to shift to 5D. This is my first conscious action. As you know, the universe is based on action. I'm taking an action to connect and make the transition to 5D. When you do that, you establish a connection. And then every time that you operate from 5D, you will get a reward. I don't know how else to describe it. You might have an experience, you might see something, you might have an energy come into you, you might have a contact experience, you might have a dream, you might have a download. But something will happen because they are so excited to welcome you into this new 5D that every time that you do something that is correct and aligns you, they are immediately there to reward you in some way. Whatever it is. Good for you. Hey. There's never been a time like this in history ever. Ever. I don't know if there ever will be. I don't know what's going to happen. You know, if maybe we'll get bored once we get into 5D. But this transition period is incredibly exciting. So, now I'm going to tell you what we've already talked about. So if you are subscribed to the thunderwizard.com Warrior 90-day Lightning Qigong, if you're a subscriber to that, you've already gotten access to the first of 3 videos that I'm going to make. I'm going to make a lot more. But I mean, my meditations They were powerful before, but now I'm experiencing a level of power that I've never experienced in my entire spiritual, energetic career. Never. I've never experienced anything like this. And what's happening is that I am learning that I get to be the architect of 5D. Now, I'm not the only one. You can be the architect also. When you go into meditation, what you can do is you can decide what the 5D is going to look like. Now, 5D, you can't create a hell. You can't decide to go into meditation and create something where people are harmed or people's experience is limited, or you can't bring ego or any of that other stuff. So there are some basic rules. You have to operate without fear. You have to operate with love. You have to operate with joy. You have to operate with childlike humility and curiosity. But you can create whatever the hell you want. And in 5D, what will define reality will be your imagination. Not like here, where it is now. You can literally create absolutely anything you want. And as I said, of course, 5D operates on a different level. There's no ego there. There's no abuse. There's no selfishness. So, right now is a learning period. If you operate from fear, if you operate from greed, if you operate from ego, from narcissism, you can try and go into a meditative state. And if you don't know, you can test it out. What'll happen is you'll just get nothing. You'll get no response. There'll be nobody on the end of the phone. Nobody will answer. And that will tell you, okay, so that doesn't work. But if you go in and in meditation, when you start thinking of how to create this new reality and you are successful, you will get a positive reinforcement. I can't tell you exactly how that's going to be. It could be in anything, but you'll know. It'll be something where okay, I'm on the right path. I'm going in the right direction. And I want to get into the specifics, but I'm going to upload specifically how these meditations work, where you literally tap directly into the quantum field, the tendrils, the web of the quantum field. You tap directly into it. And here's where it gets really amazing. All of the other conscious beings in the universe right now are focused on Earth. And they are all waiting to give you their power as well. If you align in the right way, if you vibrate in the right way, in the meditative field, all of them will focus all of their energy to you, to allow you to take their energy and focus it into creating the fifth dimension for Earth. There has never been a time like this for you. They want you. They want you, the gods, the elves, the higher self, the spirit guides, the angels, whatever word you want to use, because there's infinite numbers of all these different kinds of things, far beyond what we can imagine. They are all extremely excited for you personally to have everything you've ever wanted, to experience everything you've ever wanted. And so you can literally connect into that, and you can pull all of those conscious beings' energies into creating. And you will literally feel like God. You'll get an idea, if there is a God, you'll get an idea of what God feels like. And of course, God is not the God of the Bible that's, thou shalt do this and there shall be no other gods. That's a narcissist. Our world has been worshiping the narcissistic human ego for the past 2,000 years. Whatever that is out there, I don't like to use those words or even those symbols, but whatever that is, it is not ego-driven. It's none of those things. So that's it. You guys get to create the 5D if you want to, but you're going to have to grow up. You're going to have to drop the fear, all of it. You're going to have to drop the victim mentality, all of it. All of it. It's okay if you're not there yet. The great thing about it is you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be going in the right direction. But when you get into 5D, you will have dropped the ego, you will have dropped the fear, you will have dropped the emptiness within, the narcissistic drive for approval and love. You will be filled with it. When you do these meditations, speaking for myself, when I do these meditations, afterwards, I woke up this morning and it was just like I didn't have any need to do anything or be anything. It was just like, I had to sort of bring myself into physical manifestation to interact with my life because I was ready to go. I was like, yeah, I don't need to be here anymore. Let's move on. But I still have work to do, and so do you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. All right, so I'm happy to take questions. This is a question and answer. And if you have a question, write the word question in all caps, please. And then I'll, not the whole question, just the word question. And if you have an honest feeling, I want those, because we live in a universe of feelings and actions. So feelings are not opinions, they are just simply feelings. And I encourage you to know your feelings and be able to identify them so that you can take constructive action, either in line with your 5D feelings or in opposition to your 3D limiting feelings. You're going to have both. You got to be able to identify which one is which, and you got to learn how to take action in the proper direction. But first you have to know what it is you're feeling. All right, so we've got Thundra. She says hello. Thundra is, by the way, one of my Vedic astrologers. You can go to her website, Thundra, thundra.thunderwizard.com. She's got a bunch of other stuff that you can take advantage of there. She says hello. And we also have Vincent.thunderwizard.com, who says hello. He is also one of my Vedic astrologers. That, of course, is his website, Vincent.thunderwizard.com. If you want me to do for you what I just did for them, you can go to lockdown, LOCKDOWN.thunderwizard.com, and you can, if you pass that course, which should not be difficult, I will give you a page on my website, and I will advertise your website. If you come on to the live stream and say hello and remind me of who you are, I'll do for you what I just did for them. Kim B, honest feeling. I'm happy I got to catch it live from the beginning. Conscious awareness. Question. Isn't inevitable that we go through the fourth dimension chaos before reaching fifth dimension? I've never heard that before, but you just heard me say, in order to get to 5D, you've got to drop the fear, right? That's a fearfully based question. I mean, there's nothing pleasant about that. In order to get to 5D, we have to go through the fourth dimension of chaos. Listen, there's a bunch of people out there pulling stuff out of their rear end. There's a bunch of people out there, you've never heard me talk about 5D until now. Why is that? Because I never physically experienced it. I experienced it earlier on in some very high-level spiritual things, but it was only through out-of-body experiences in my astral body and things like that. I'd never experienced it in my physical body until recently. So ask me about things that, this is new. So no, I don't think it's inevitable to go through chaos. I don't know what that means. That doesn't sound fun to me. Does that sound fun to you? What I'm here to tell you is that 5D is there. Now, there is a transition where you may have to go through some transition that might be challenging to you. It might be frightening, it might be painful. It's not chaos. It's your own attachment to 3D ego self-protection. You're going to have to drop all of that, and for some people that's going to be traumatic. For some people it's going to be frightening. This is why the people who are afraid, there's no shortage of people out there. In fact, some of them have contacted me and said, don't do this. Don't initiate contact with these beings. They're evil. That's because they're afraid. And what they're afraid of is they're afraid of letting go of their defense mechanisms that they built up their whole life, which have to do with two-dimensional thinking. So here's the thing. If you live in 3D and you're bound by it, you think in two dimensions. Good and bad, right and wrong, evil, righteous, God, the devil. This is two-dimensional thinking, and it is a defense mechanism that keeps you in 3D. So this idea that in order to get to 5D we have to go through some chaos, that is a projection of somebody who still has unresolved psychological 2D thinking. And I'm not judging anybody. I have it too. I'm going through it now. I mean, I had my first physical experience with, I don't even know how many dimensions that being was, but it was at least 5D. I had my first physical experience and I had nightmares. But they were the weirdest and funniest and silliest nightmares I've ever had in my life. In one nightmare, this was right after I had it, one nightmare I woke up screaming, and I was screaming, "I don't trust you." But here's what was going on in the dream. In the dream, I was sitting outside of my whatever house. It wasn't this house. It was some house somewhere. And I was in my driveway, and the next door neighbor, the neighbors over there were these beautiful ballerinas. They were like these 20-year-old beautiful ballerinas, and they were dancing in their, ballerinas twirling in their driveway, but they were also phase shifting. So they were like, and they were phase shifting and dancing their way over to my house. There shouldn't have been anything wrong with that. What's wrong with being surrounded by beautiful phase shifting ballet dancers? Nothing. But it scared the crap out of me. And I woke up screaming, "I don't trust you." Well, it was obvious when I woke up. I mean, bear in mind, I had this physical fear, but I knew that was just the silliest projection. That was my own fear of the unknown. I had another one a couple nights ago where there was a little fish, one of those, those little fishes, they look like little Chinese fishes in plastic, and you wind them up and they go like this. Is that a real thing? I was lying down and there was this toy fish, and it was, swimming around me. And I woke up yelling, "Help me, I can't stop it." It was just fear of the unknown. So this nonsense about we have to go through the chaos of the 4D, that is somebody's projection of their own fear. And you must drop the fear. Drop it. Bad dog, drop it. Drop the fear. No, you're not going to have to go through some stupid fourth dimension of chaos. Don't have to do that. This can be easy or it can be hard. If you drop the fear, if you can feel the fear, if you let go of all of your attachments to the things that you think are protecting you, and you feel the fear of that and let it go, it can be, to the extent that you are able to drop the fear, your experience of the 5D is here now. It'll be here right now if you want it. There's nothing holding you back. You want to be able to fly in the sky and be a multi-dimensional rainbow being that goes, a billion light years in the flash of an eye. You can do it. Right now, you can do it. If you're willing to let go of all of your 2D thinking and your 3D fear, it's available to anybody. There's no hierarchy. This is the truest, most spiritual experience human beings have had. There's no hierarchy. There's no enlightenment. There's no more enlightened beings. The idea that, oh, he is an enlightened being. There's no more gurus. You guys come to me, I'm your teacher, but you guys know that. I don't want anybody kissing my feet or any of that stupid nonsense. And you'd be an idiot if you did, because I'm just as human as you are. But all that nonsense of the guru says this, and all that stuff is gone. This is now, it's open casting for everybody. You want to be part of it? You're going to see people that you're going to see, watch this. You're going to see people who were the most 2D, frightened, destructive, narcissistic people. You're going to see them drop all their stuff and they're going to shoot to the top of the class. There's no more karma. You have to pay the karma of this. It's all gone. Everybody's getting a clean slate. But you got to drop the fear. You got to drop the fear. You got to drop the 2D selfishness. You got to drop it. All right, what else? Scott Bonata. So if you want to write a question, you can just write the word question in all caps, because I don't want to miss it. Otherwise, I might miss it. You say, you still down under? No, I am not. I haven't been down under for 7 months now. And I won't be able to go down under until they, until they start allowing people that haven't been poked in the shoulder, which I haven't. Until they get rid of that, foreigners who haven't gotten that, until they get rid of that, I can't come back. But as soon as they drop that, I'm coming back. Zarelath, Qigong testimony. All right, that's neither a question or a feeling, but it serves my purpose, so we'll go ahead and read it. I did summon the immortals waist deep, so in case you're new to the channel, I recommend that you go look for this on my channel. It's free on the YouTube channel. Look at it on the playlist. If you don't know how to do it, figure out how to find somebody's playlist on their YouTube channel. It's amazing how many people don't know how to navigate YouTube. Go and look for the Awakening the Immortals Qigong. And by the way, the immortals that you are awakening are none other than those light beings I've been talking about. He says, I did the summoning the immortals waist deep at the beach today. That's interesting. I've never thought of doing that. I wouldn't do that, but I have no idea if that would work or not. So you say, I did summon the immortals waist deep at the beach today. The grounding to the water surface is exactly the same as on land. Wow. Well, there you go. Learn something new every day. Zarelath question. Do you know about Tolkien's lore about Discord and Malkor who made it? I don't. I do believe that Tolkien was channeling. He himself said that his books were his attempt to create modern day mythology. Mythology means sometimes literal, sometimes symbolic representations of spiritual truth. So mythology, true mythology, is always channeled. So I do believe that he channeled. So, you can read his stuff, and, now I've always felt this way, but this is more true now than ever. You want to watch Lord of the Rings, you want to watch, other, fantasy movies where there's beings that have power and, wizards and sorcerers. Now you can watch them and you can see them. They're documentaries now. They're non-fiction now. They've become our new reality. Let's see. Scott Bonata, so do me a favor, write the word question in all caps. So as I said earlier, the two most important things in life is to pay attention and put effort. So pay attention. I'm telling you to write the word question in all caps. Put effort. Make sure that you put the effort to do it, because otherwise I might not see it. And isn't that the whole point? You want me to see your question? You say, are you talking machine elves? No, I'm not. Vincent.thunderwizard.com. Question. Dr. Greer announced... Oh, I didn't know this. Dr. Greer announced that there will be another global CE5 meditation event. CE5 meditation, you can look it up. The letters CE5. You can look those up anywhere on Google. If you haven't watched it already, I would recommend watching the video Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. He talks about that. Anyway, there's all kinds of places you can learn how to do this. But he says there's going to be another global CE5 meditation event on Saturday, July 2nd. Have you heard about it? I have not. Do you plan on doing a live stream for it? I, interestingly enough, have been thinking about doing a live stream of myself doing CE5. And that might be something I'll do. I have to think about it. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. Lushka, question. What direction would you advise facing when doing the meditation to bring down the 5D imaginal realm? The same direction you always face when you're talking to the elves, because that's who we're talking about. We're talking about the elves, the beings of light, the ascended masters, the ancestors of the human race that have moved on to higher levels. Those are the elves. They are none other than the beings of light who are now physically visiting planet Earth, if you have the ability to tap into them. They can't wait. They are literally, they are flying around you all the time, waiting for you to tap into them. And waiting to help you with your meditation. So you can just do this. Just go into meditation. Do any of the meditations that I teach or any meditation that you want to do. And face northwest and have the intention of asking the light beings to empower your meditation. That's all you need. See what happens. Kim B. question, aren't we currently experiencing the chaos? So are you familiar with the word psychological projection? So this might be your psychological projection. Are you talking about all the stuff that's going on in the world? That goes back. So what you're saying is you didn't like my answer. Somebody else asked, don't we have to go through the 4D chaos? Listen, people are randomly pulling phrases out of their rear end. 4D, it makes sense. It's a linear thinking. 5D is not linear. So you're going from, let's see, 3 and then 5. Okay, so 3 plus 2 is 5. So we have to go to 4 before we get to 5. Right? Drop all that nonsense. People are using all kinds of words. You know, even the word 5D, I struggle using that, but it's better than nothing. So what you're experiencing right now in the world, all of the war, the poverty, the chaos, the craziness with the all that garbage is simply the 2D, the people who think in 2D. They are resisting the shift because once the shift finally completely is finished, all of those 2D archons, the physical human beings that are ruling this earth, they will have lost all of their power. And they are simply overreaching. They are resisting. They are panicked out of their mind. Now, they're not the only people. The people who think that light beings are demons. You know, the people that think that, you know, all kinds of stuff. I don't need to talk about all the stupid things people think. The fear that comes up in me, that's my 2D thinking. That's resisting the shift. So this chaos you're talking about isn't something that has to happen. So I want all of you guys to drop the victim mentality that says things happen to you. They don't. What is the basis of this video? You are the architect of 5D. You want to go into 5D, you've got to drop the victim mentality, which also means you're a victim of circumstances. Nothing ever happens to you. It never has. That's been the illusion of 3D, that you think things happen to you. They don't. You've always created everything. Your misery, if you're unhappy, if you've got poverty, illness, unhappiness, misery in your life, I'm sorry to tell you, you created it. So the good news is if you can create it, you can solve it. So the first thing you got to do is drop any belief that says that things happen to you. They don't. 5D won't happen to you either. In fact, if you do nothing, 5D will not happen for you. 5D will be your creation. So, the chaos that's happening, you can be a part of it. I'm not part of it. None of that bothers me. I don't give a crap what's going on. I don't spend any time thinking about the stock market or the price of homes or what's going on with the economy, because I know that's all fake. It's all made up. The universe provides me, and always has, but especially now, it provides me everything I need. If that happens to me right now in our 3D world, we have this made up thing called money. By the way, there's no such thing. It doesn't exist. But if that's the thing that I need, I'm going to have plenty of money to pay for housing, food, clothes, toys, surfboards, whatever the hell it is. So please drop the whole, we're going to have to go through the chaos. Drop it. You have my permission right now to just drop all of it. It's okay if you feel it, but that's your projection. So if you have that in your life, if the chaos is in your life, it's your projection. So I recommend everybody go and look up psychological projection, because that's what's happening. It happens on a spiritual level as well. Everything is your own projection, and that will be the 5D reality. There will be no filter between your experience and what physically manifests. And a good movie, if you want to go see it, although it still has a fear-based ending, unfortunately. And throughout it, it has a fear base in it because people manifest all kinds of nasty things. But go watch the movie The Sphere. S-P-H-E-R-E, The Sphere. The basic premise of that movie is accurate, although, again, if you take it and turn all the 2D negative things into 3D positive things, then it would be a documentary, not a science fiction. Scott Bonat, a question, thanks. Okay, that's not a question. Kim B, okay, are you guys talking to each other? Crystal Armor, question. So do you have to master 3D before you can go to 5D? How does one master 3D? The answer to your question is no. Why are you making it so hard on yourself? Were you not listening to me? This is open season for anybody. Open auditions. Anybody wants to become a high-level spiritual master, you can do it overnight. Instant enlightenment. You want it, you've got it. All you got to do is just initiate. Initiate it. And the fastest way that I know how to do that is by doing all the stuff that I got here. Let's see, am I pointing in the right direction? All the stuff that I got up here. Go on to my channel. Listen, if you're new to my channel, let me once again tell you, all the stuff that comes out of my mouth is meaningless if you're not doing the work. If you think coming onto this channel and listening to me, as brilliant as I am, is going to make you enlightened, it won't. If you think sitting around thinking about these things intellectually is going to shift you, it won't. What's going to shift you is if you do the work. The work is doing the energy work in the meditations. That's it. That's it. There's no other requirements anymore. Do the meditations. Do the energy work. You want some help? Great. do the CE5 protocols, and you can have I want you to listen to this. You can have master light beings come and give you energy transmissions, come and teach you. They might teach you in dreams, they might teach you in downloads. When you do a CE5 experience, you'll have whatever experience you have, assuming that you're successful, which you probably will be. And then actually your success is guaranteed as long as you do it from a pure state of heart. Guaranteed success. And you will shift. You might see a shift that happens over a period of weeks or months, or I don't know how long. You might have an immediate awakening. I don't know. I'm not you. I don't know what you need. Do the work. Mastering 3D. What does that mean? Do you know what that means? I don't know what that means. No, the bus is here. It's time to get off 3D. The 3D bus is coming to an end. The brakes are squealing. It's stopped. Mastering 3D is sitting in a bus that's not moving anymore. People are saying, what are you doing on that bus? I'm mastering 3D. Yeah, but the bus has already hit the end of the line. It's time. We're going to 5D now. All right, I'm going to master 3D. Hey, where are you guys going? The bus is going to take off without you. Nope, you don't have to master 3D. Vincent.thunderwizard.com, honest feeling. My feelings feel overwhelming and unbearable. I understand. I'm an expert at burying them. Oh, that's painful. And not feeling them, but I'm becoming aware that this is unmanageable. Yeah, it's going to become more unmanageable. Being in 5D means everything I've been telling you guys to do. But it will be part and parcel of 5D is having all of your thoughts and all of your feelings, positive and negative, being fully aware of all of them, and yet having the consciousness to take actions that are constructive, even if the actions are completely contrary to all of your 2D impulses in you, all of your fears. So it's okay. Get used to it. All of those feelings are power, by the way. Take all those feelings and put them into your meditation. Do the 5 elements. If you're new to my channel, up here on the Warrior 90-Day Challenge, I teach you 5 element meditations, and those meditations are designed to actually take the energy that emotions are, and you actually end up putting them through all of the 5 elements, and then those emotions now become manageable. You actually work through them, purify them, and then it's pure power that you can use to create your 5D. So look, I need help. I have cheats. All of the things that I do are cheats. If you do the meditations, if you do the energy work, it's like getting, a 10,000-year karma upgrade. You can sit around and you can slug through the best you can, which means dealing with the karma of your life and going through the challenge and the pain of the relationships and the this and the that and all that. You can do that, and you can spend 10,000 years doing that. Or you can do the energy work and meditations and do it in a month instead of 100 years. It's completely up to you. That's the message for right now. It's completely up to you, but you got to do the work. And the stuff that I teach is the most concentrated, advanced, most powerful stuff that used to be. Now you can see why it's not secret anymore. Used to be secret. Even 10 or 20 years ago, some of the meditations and this stuff, I've got the Mao Shan, the 5 element stuff. I couldn't have put that on video. If I did that 20 years ago, there would have been a couple of Asian men knocking on my door, giving me the come to Jesus meeting about, you can't share this with the public. It's all free now. Everything is available to everybody. The most advanced spiritual techniques are available to anybody who wants it. The Awakening the Immortals Qigong that I taught you here, that is of that level of power, and it's free. You just got to take it and use it. I don't know what got me on that rant. So Kim, I normally don't respond to this. So Kim, you need to do some work. So again, you're talking about your projection. Your feelings are real. Your feelings of chaos, they're real, but they're within you. And they have to do with you working through past life karma, childhood stuff. You know, that stuff is real, and that stuff will hold you back. You have to work through it. So I recommend doing some meditation, doing some work, finding a life coach, finding a counselor, finding a yoga master, finding a guru, finding a therapist. I don't care. You got to work through that stuff. So if you think that you feel the chaos outside of you, you're not done. You say, I am free of the chaos, but the world seems to be. I don't spend any time thinking about the world. I don't. It's not my problem. People can be as chaotic as they want. So, think about that, meditate on that. If you see it, it means you got it. You hear what I said? If you see the chaos, it means you got it. I can look at it, but it's not my problem. I don't care. It's not my life. It's their life. You want to live your life like that? Go ahead. And here's the thing. If you're living in the flow of your soul, even if some real serious problem happens on Earth, like some of the stuff that's been going on in China, you know, people being locked down and unable to do anything, so the wars, if you are in your soul, you will flow past all of that. You'll never have to be physically in any of that. I've proven that to myself, and it's now more true than ever. Lushka, honest feeling. You have always talked about the one becoming the three, becoming the five, which goes into infinity. I believe that that's an honest feeling. I believe that the mythos verifies what you're saying and feel grateful for being alive. Thank you. I'm glad that that's been helpful for you. Stephen, that's not a question. I don't know if you're being. It sounds a little bit sarcastic. So that's okay. Every now and then we get a troll. I can't tell if you're being serious or not. So we will put that there. All right. I don't see any other questions. Are we done with all the questions? So you know how it works. If you don't have any questions, then I've got to let you know of all of the resources available to you. So we have, right now, today is the 29th, so we're almost to the beginning of the next month. So if you've been waiting to subscribe until the 1st, that's a good idea, because whenever you subscribe, you're charged at the 1st of the month every month. So you can unsubscribe whenever you want, but I recommend, if you're really interested in learning how to be the architect of your 5D experience, I'm going to be uploading some specific meditation techniques that anybody can do that will, I've never seen this in any meditation myself. So maybe it's been out there in other traditions, but I've never seen it. This was a whole new experience that was downloaded to me just recently. So you can go to thunderwizard.com and click around until you see Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong and subscribe. And all kinds of other good stuff is there. If you want to see everything that I have, all of my teachings, all of my services, all of the certifications, you can go to courses.thunderwizard.com. If you want access to the most powerful energy practice I've ever seen, you can go to maoshan.thunderwizard.com. And the maoshan.thunderwizard.com is actually connected to the Warrior 90-Day Challenge, so I recommend that you do both of those if you want to be, if you want to be a live wire with, if you want to be a Dr. Manhattan. All right. Anything else? Nothing came up. All right, then. That's it for me. I wish you guys all the best. Thank you so much for showing up. I love you all. I appreciate all of you. And if you want to show me love and gratitude, of course, you can, support the channel in all kinds of ways, which keeps the lights on. But the most valuable thing you can give to me is to meditate. And in your meditation, especially energy work and meditation together, you can't beat those. In your meditations, send me good, positive vibes. That is worth more to me than anything else. Improve yourself through meditation, because when you meditate, every other conscious being in the entire universe, even the highest deity, the highest level being of light, whenever you meditate, those beings are empowered up to the next level, and every being sends you gratitude when you meditate. So meditate and do energy work. That will make me happy, and of course it'll make you even more powerful when we make this 5D shift. So that's it. I wish you guys all the best. I love you. I'll see you all very soon. Take care.